Hey, I'm John Greaves III, and I'm the founder of Garage Gym Life. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I know you guys are going to enjoy today's conversation. I'll be talking to Heather Black. Heather is not only a busy professional, she's also a mom to 4 boys, which you know can be a task by itself. And then she also is balancing all of that along with trying to maintain her own personal fitness goals. Heather's going to give us some of her tips for how she manages to do all that. But before we get to the conversation with Heather, if you have not done so, please hit that subscribe button for me, share this video. I am trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and subscribing is free, but it means the world to me because it gets me closer to reaching my goal. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Heather, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Of course. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Let's just jump right into this. First of all, are you a morning person? Did you like work
I
out
am.
already?
So I used to work out super early when I
Okay.
was younger. Now my body is not prepared for that. It's not ready. So now I have to work out later in the day. So no, I have not gotten my workout in yet.
All right. So the reason I asked you that is because you're a mom. You've got 4 boys,
Mhm.
and you're a single mom, right?
I am. Yeah, I
Okay, so
am.
you're a single mom with 4 boys. And so I'm asking that from the point of view of being able to get everything done, because that's a lot of stuff, depending on the ages of your kids. You've got a lot of moving parts you have to juggle each and every day, not just homework, but just all of the stuff that you have to do with kids. My wife and I
Yeah.
have 5 kids ourselves, so I understand there's a lot that goes on. And sometimes you're like, you know what? I
Yes.
have got to get ahead of these human beings. The other humans who
Yeah.
live here, I got to get ahead of them. So I got to work out super early, or sometimes you
Yeah.
end up working out very late in the evening. How do you manage to fit your own personal training into your life?
So I'm as a dad of 5, you know this. Every day you have a set plan. This is what you say you're going to do, and this is what you say is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
And none of it ever happens the way you plan it. So
yep,
you have to be very adaptable. I used to, when my babies, when they were younger, I would get up at 4:30 in the morning, get my workout over with so that I could get everything done and know that at least I got my workout done. Now it's more of, because I'm working full time, I've got, 4 boys at different schools and different towns. I'm running all over the place. They all play hockey. So now it's more of I squeeze in a workout whenever I can. I put it on my calendar so that I know, like, you really need to try to block off this time. It might not happen and you might need to move it in different places, but I always make sure that it's in my calendar that it's going to get done, because if I'm a happier person, I'm less stressed out. It's just everything. It's more of a mental health thing than it is anything else, as far as stress relief. So I've got to get my workout in. And even my kids, they'll notice. They're like, Mom, you need to go work out. Like if it's been a day or two and I haven't had a chance to work out, they'll be like, you need to eat or you need to go work out because you're stressing me out. So it's something that you have to prioritize. And a lot of times you have to be okay with letting certain things kind of slide. Like, instead of cleaning when you need to, maybe do that a couple of times a week instead of every single night. You know what I mean? And then just so you can get your workout in. So there are certain sacrifices and things. It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have a perfectly clean house. Kids are all going to be clean, and it's a lot of different sacrifices in deciding what your priorities are. So it's juggling. It's a lot of juggling. And it's a lot of trying to make it work. So it's not easy. It's very easy to be like, you know what, I give up. I'm just gonna, I don't have time for it. And that's what you hear a lot with clients. I just don't have time.
There's this thing like when you see somebody who's, especially when they're a coach,
Hmm.
and you see them on social media, they have this thing that they've done, right?
Yeah.
And you look at them, you're like, well, yeah, sure, I'd be able to do that too if I didn't do anything but work out all day. I'd have all kinds of time. And so I wanted to make sure that people understood that
Yeah.
our days are just as busy. And not
Yes.
and I'm not trying to like put anybody down. I'm just saying that our days are busy. And one of the things I loved is that you say you have to prioritize it. Like what I call it is like you basically you treat it as if you were making an appointment. So
Yes.
if it was something for work, right? Your
Yeah.
boss says we have a meeting at 9 o'clock. You
Hmm.
wouldn't miss that meeting because the dishes were dirty.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
you'd be like, okay, well, I
Yes.
have to come. So is that one of the hurdles that you have to kind of jump over with your clients to for them to give themselves permission to actually set aside time to make themselves important.
Absolutely. And it is. And I see my most successful clients are ones who literally put it in their schedule, not just in their schedule, because I do have several who work from home as well. And they have to put their calendars so that everybody can see it. And they literally have to block off certain times of the day where a lot of times they'll turn it in, they'll say that it's therapy. So that, and nobody asks any questions like, you're going to therapy. Nobody's going to say, okay, well, you can't go to therapy, you got to work. But if you put in there, like, I'm going to go work out, they'll be like, oh, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? But it's therapy. It's therapy. Working out can be therapy. So you have to put it in the schedule so that you literally, that's what you're doing at that time and nobody messes with it.
How crazy is that?
Come up. It's
How
ridiculous.
crazy is that somebody would be fine with you going to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or your therapist or whatever, but they're not okay with you doing something that's, well, to a certain extent free, but that's just as good for you. That's preventative. It's fine if you already have damaged yourself and you got to go try to fix it, patch yourself back together. But it's not okay if you're trying to prevent that and just stay healthy. That's horrible.
And it doesn't make sense because it is, so therapy in itself, it helps you mentally, but I mean, exercise is the world's best antidepressant. So it's not only going to help you mentally, it's going to help you physically, it's going to help you emotionally. It is therapy, it improves every aspect of your life, not just going to talk to a therapist, which is very helpful, but that's not going to improve your cardiovascular fitness. It's not going to keep you mobile for the rest of your life the way exercise will, so it's just as important as therapy would be, but most employers don't really see it that way, which is unfortunate.
And the thing is that a lot of times a therapist will prescribe exercise for you.
Yes.
They'll say you need to exercise, you need to go for a walk, you need to get outside or just whatever. I want to segue from that into a quote that I saw on your website. It says, stop giving power to everything and everyone that says you can't have what you want. Stop feeling limited and powerless. So, so many times I hear moms, like I was saying, they say they feel guilty, right?
Yeah.
As we just discussed, they feel guilty if they carve out sometime. But I have and I'm a dude, okay? If everybody can't figure that out, I'm a dude. But from the outside looking in, I feel like there's pressure on women, especially once you get past a certain age, to kind of transform into like Aunt B from Mayberry. Like you're not supposed to try to be in shape. You're not supposed to care about looking good. You're supposed to now focus more on making good biscuits. And hey, I'm not knocking good biscuits. I like biscuits, all right? Focus on being a good cook.
Absolutely. Yes. And so I think it actually becomes the thing when you are a mom, but it's a combination of everything. Not only do you have to be, at home to, make everything homemade for your children and, be there to help them with their homework and, homeschool them and, be at every school event. You also have to work a full-time job. You have to work out. You have to look really good. But you can't look too good because then you're trying to be, too sexy and you're a mom. So you can't be sexy anymore. And so there's so much guilt and that never goes away. You're still going to feel guilty no matter what, because you're a mom, but you have to weigh the benefits, the pros and the cons, like I said, I'm a better mom when I exercise. I'm a better mom when I feel good about myself. If I feel like garbage, I'm not going to want to take my kids to the park. You know what I mean? I'm not going to want to hang out with my children because I'm depressed. So it makes you a better mom to prioritize yourself for a little bit and to make sure that you're taken care of so that you can take care of other people.
You've got clients that you train online and you got clients that you train in person. Do you offer essentially the same service to both?
So in a perfect world, I would have my clients do online and in person, but obviously people are all over the place because I want my in-person clients to be able to have something to do when they're not with me. You know what I mean? Because in all reality, if you come to me twice a week, that's great, but what are you doing the rest of the time? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Right.
So that's where I see a lot of people who get upset or disappointed because they're not getting the results they want, but literally the only thing they do is come to me twice a week. So 2 hours out of your, 100 and something hours a week that you have to work out with me. What are you doing the rest of the time? So in a perfect world, you would be doing that healthy lifestyle coaching that I do, which is mainly around changing your habits and your nutrition. That's important. But then also, the online training so that you have a blueprint of what to do when you're not with me, and then you train in person. But Obviously, that's not realistic for the majority of people. So there are benefits, there are pros and cons to each one of them. Obviously, online training is more cost efficient and you get more workouts, more programming, you know what I mean? Because with my online training, you can get between 3 and 7 workouts a week with supplementary things and just other homework and stuff that you can do. Online training is great for people who they kind of know what they do, they kind of know what to do. They just don't have a plan. Those are the ones that walk into the gym and they just kind of mess around with one machine, do a couple of squats, play around on the treadmill for a little bit and leave because they don't know what to do. They're not motivated. They don't have a plan to follow. So those people are great for online training. And then with the healthy lifestyle coaching, it's an investment, but you think about it. So it's, $249 a month or something like that. That's $50 a week. Most people spend at least that a week on fast food or junk or whatever, things that are not making them better. So the investment is worth it if you want to change your life and change your habits, not just temporarily, but forever. Because the thing that drives me crazy are these diets where people lose a lot of weight really quickly, cost a lot of money, they invest all this money, they look really great, but as soon as that diet or that challenge ends, they gain it all back. And so they didn't learn any habits that they can sustain for the rest of their life. They were just following a strict plan. And then as soon as that plan's over, they're like, I don't know what to do now. So they just go back to where they were and then they gain it all back and then they're depressed again. So I don't want that. I want my clients to have habits where they don't need me anymore. I show them what to do. They get in the groove and then I set them free like little birds and they can do it themselves forever.
The kind of person you're describing is perfect for it. Back when I was training people, they were the ones who would get a new workout out of a magazine, typically some bodybuilders program. And they would just follow that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the next month they switched to somebody else's program or whatever. And they're basically program hopping. Well, nowadays they're trying workouts that they saw somebody do on social media.
Yep.
And so every week there's zero continuity. They're not linked together. There's no sort of progression plan.
That, and also Instagram and all these other places that show you workouts that say, this is how to build your dump truck or whatever. They're not doing exercise that are going to build your butt. They're not, they're lying to you.
Right.
So, a lot of these times you'll see these trainers who are like, here, you need to do this. And really it's just, here's a video of me looking really good.
Right.
And then I'm going to show you that and tell you that this is the secret to building a good butt or abs or whatever. But really, in reality, it's not that. You know what I mean? You build strength and you build size, by lifting heavier and, those little
eating more.
Yes. Eating more and lifting heavier.
Right.
Most women don't like hearing that. So that's kind of a transition. Sorry, I've got some. So that's kind of that's a different train of thought that most women are not comfortable with. They don't feel okay increasing their calories. Like if they want to look really good, they think I've got to starve myself. I got to do a ton of cardio. I got to lift light weights a lot instead of I need to do really heavy sets of squats and deadlifts and hip thrusts and all this other stuff. And it's kind of a transition that you need to talk people into a lot of times.
Do you find that the fact that you have 4 boys actually helps you connect with your clients?
Once they find out that I have, I'm a single mom, 4 boys, full-time job, I feel like a lot of times they say, or I get messages about women who say, I see you and you have all this other stuff. You have everything on your plate the way I do. So it gives me hope that that is possible. There are some people who say other things, but for the majority of the time, it's women who see that it's possible. And I appreciate that because I don't ever want a woman to look at me and think it's not possible. And I don't want them to be discouraged, like, oh, she has, full-time job, 4 kids, single mom, and she's making it happen. Why can't I? I don't want that to ever be the case. I want women to realize that it's possible because whether you have 1 kid or 5 kids, it's still a lot of work. It still fills your plate. You know what I mean? Your plate just gets bigger as you.
Heck, it's harder when you have 1 kid.
I think so too. I say
Literally,
it all
because when you have
the time.
more than one kid, they play with each other.
Exactly. I say that all the time. All the time. I say one is way harder than
Oh my
mine. I
God,
can just
yeah.
say, y'all go play together.
Uh-huh.
One, it's like you're their only playmate.
So tell me that what are three successful patterns or three success habits that you've noticed people have who are able to be successful as you coach them through the process?
So the first one is to keep your commitments to stay fit, as far as, scheduling in that time to work out. If you consistently schedule, and it doesn't have to be every single day. In a perfect world, you would be active every single day. Sometimes that's not realistic. So if you can schedule, I guess the guidelines say 30 minutes of exercise 5 times a week. If you can schedule something in during the weekdays where you are active, and you keep that commitment to yourself, just like you said, scheduling a meeting with your boss, keeping that on your schedule, staying consistent, even when things kind of fluctuate. That is the first thing. You got to stay consistent as far as your fitness. The second thing, as far as your nutrition, is to realize that it doesn't have to be perfect, and actually trying to be perfect is what's going to lead to failure. There was a study done where they took a group of obese women, and for a year, they kind of saw their habits. And the ones that were most successful were the ones who didn't cut out their sneaky junk foods that they love. They didn't cut them out 100%. They just lowered their portion sizes. So it's not about being completely strict with your diet. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to enjoy things so that you don't restrict for so long that you end up binging. So the thing, I feel like a lot of people get in this thing of like, I'm going to have to give up cookies forever. It's not that. You just have to eat less cookies and eat more of the good stuff, and you'll get the results you want, and you'll keep them forever. So that, and then as far as the third one, I think would probably be, I guess it would be sleep. I guess the ladies, it is so hard to get a good night's sleep when you have a million children or one child and a job and all these other things to juggle. Because I know when I should be in bed is when I'm like, I got to go do the dishes, or I got to go put in a load of laundry, or this kid just told me at 9 o'clock he's got a project due in the morning. So getting that sleep, I've noticed it for myself, and I've noticed it for other people who I suggest you need to get a little bit more sleep. Their bloating goes down. They don't eat as much during the day. They're in a better mood. They have more energy to work out. It helps your body recover, and it helps you keep the other habits, So if I'm super tired, I'm not going to want to work out. I'm going to want to eat something that gives me a little bit more energy, that's higher in calories, because I need that to maintain, when I really could have just gotten another hour of sleep and I wouldn't need those extra calories. You know what I mean? So I guess it would be exercising consistently, being okay with not eliminating things, but lowering your portion sizes and just eating more of the healthy stuff, and then getting enough sleep. Those would probably be my biggest ones.
All right, last thing, Heather, tell everybody where they can go if they want to find out more.
Okay, so you can go to my website. It's heatherblackfitness.com. It'll tell you, all the different types of coaching I have and training. And then if you want to, you can go on Instagram and follow me, Heather Black Fit. I have a ton of workouts on there. I post a lot of stories. A lot of times it's been stories lately of just different nutrition tips and, workouts and things that'll help you. But there's a ton. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now. So there's 5 or 6 years of workouts that you could follow too, if you just want something fun to do in the gym.